Hey everyone, Trevor Daly with MagMod. Hey, thank you so much for joining us for this roundtable chat. This will be the first time that we're doing something like this, and we're quite excited for it. While we've been asked to kind of socially distance ourselves or quarantine or shelter in place, we found that using the tools that we have online, we can actually all still gather as a community and still make each other stronger. So these roundtable discussions that we're going to start doing on a weekly basis is basically opportunities for not just incredible photographers, but also incredible humans to share their tips, what they're doing in their life, things that are positive, things that they're doing with their clients, things that they're planning on doing next week. And we hope that you're able to gather many actionable tips that you can apply to your own business. Now, I apologize that in this first roundtable discussion, I was so excited to get it started that about 5 minutes into it, I realized I did not hit the record button. So funny enough, as we pick this up, at the very beginning of it, you're going to hear Dave Shea talking about something positive that he's gathered in his life. The funny part is you're going to miss the part where he shows that he's in a Taco Bell. Funny part about it is it's just a green screen. So I don't want anyone worried that he's actually at a Taco Bell broadcasting. But Dave and his humor is he's just such a great guy. So that's what we're going to pick up. They're talking about positive things, and then we get into actionable steps and things they're planning on doing the next week. So join us every single week for these MagMod roundtables. We're going to do them on Fridays for sure. Possibly we might do a second round on Wednesdays as well. And of course, if you're somebody who would like to participate in one of these, definitely let me know. Reach out to me. You can find me at Trevor Daly at MagnetMod or in the Facebook community, and let me know if there's some way that you feel like you could, you can help out as well. I would love to give as many people that opportunity as possible. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And again, if you are not yet a member of the MagMod community, join us because every single week we're going to be doing lots of fun things, not just discussions, but different challenges and stuff. All right. Thanks again. And here's Dave at Taco Bell.
Just the photography community banding together. I've seen people already creating groups just for referrals, trying to take care of each other. Hey, I'm not available for this date anymore. That's rescheduling. Let me jump in. Or even just bigger, like groups like this, companies like MagMod stepping up and just being like, hey, we want to help in this time. And there's been so much of that going around that if you really do pay attention, it's very easy to see a lot of the stuff from this. It's really cool.
It does feel like in the times of tragedy that there's a lot more community and banding together and helping each other out, which is awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Another positive thing that I see, another positive thing that I see is that we actually we're having time for a lot of things that we postponed. I have a lot of ideas and projects and things that I want to do, and I have a lot of time now to do it and to put it in action. And of course, I am enjoying a lot to be in my house. I always concerned about time and not be with my family. And now I'm having a lot of time with them, with my kids and my wife. That's one of the positive things. And I'm actually enjoying this more than I thought. So that's one of the biggest things that I really enjoying about this.
Thank you, Christian. Elizabeth, I know that you wanted to say something. And then Marissa, I see that you're ready as well. So Elizabeth, go ahead.
Yes. So I just wanted to follow up with what Christian said. We're really enjoying our family right now. The kids are on spring break, and we've been doing a thing where we are watching comedy movies, and we're doing like a March Madness of all the best comedy movies together. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're playing lots of games. And also the St. Louis community has just rallied together, and it's just been really beautiful.
That's awesome. So you're saying you actually have a bracket and you guys choose?
Yeah, we're doing a bracket right now ongoing of family-oriented comedy movies. I'll have to share it online, but it's been so much fun.
That's amazing. I love that idea. Thank you. Marissa, did you have your hand up as well?
Yeah, I was going to go off of kind of what Dave was mentioning, just the, just like the incredible support that we're getting from the community, both photography, even like, my clients have reached out just to make sure I'm doing okay. I mean, I know we all have sent out, our clients' emails, just ensuring that we're there for them and we have their back no matter what happens. And a lot of this we have to just kind of play by ear. And it's a little unsettling for it, but just the fact that we're just bonding so much more as a community and everything. I mean, it's only been really, kind of locked down for like a week or so. And so many people have offered free classes, free workshops online. I mean, free concerts online.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Just with the, sometimes we don't know about, being so connected, but in times like this, it's so wonderful. We don't feel alone. It's great.
That's true. Thank you so much for mentioning that. You're absolutely right. Esteban.
Yeah, I wanted to add to what everyone else is saying, and as much as great as that the community is coming together, I'm actually really proud of how much my clients have come together and have been supportive through all this time. So, and I wanted to read a message that I got from one of my clients when I reached out to them, and it's very simple, very short, but it really struck a nerve with me because it was such a positive outlook on the way that they're seeing things. And it says, thank you for checking in. We're wishing the best for you and all the other small businesses. Can't imagine how difficult this time must be for you guys. And it really, I don't know, it just made me feel so good to not only get the support from the community, but also the support from people that are looking at things from the outside in and realizing that, hey, these people are small businesses and they need our support too. So just getting that message was just super empowering. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I go?
Yeah.
So true. I just love. I'm also very proud of being part of the industry, and I just want to tell everyone to don't worry about the stage you are right now. Like if you're not feeling super happy because you have a lot of time at home, it's okay. If you are not like joyous because you are able to do more projects, it's okay. Like a lot of people are really struggling mentally right now. So just reach out, because there's a lot of us out there that we're feeling maybe also down, but kind of strong to help other people. So just make sure you're safe, you're okay, and reach out. Don't feel like all of us are going through a happy stage. It's different for everybody. So we're here for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I heard Tree.
Yeah. Following up on that, I think it is incredible that there's all of this connection and we're utilizing the social platforms that most of us are often annoyed with most of the time because it's too much, and now it's this perfect way. And a lot of people are really struggling. And yesterday I had a video call with women from all over the world, photographers, and we called it dip days. Like some days we're gonna feel great and positive, and other days we're not. And it's good to just, you're gonna have to ride that wave and connect with your loved ones and get outside and explore what you can. And if you can't go outside, explore in a book or just find what can make you feel good. And we've had a great week actually. And we've had clients write us and immediately we said we're available, let's change the date, and they write back saying, wow, that was so painless, and now we don't have to stress. So there's constant positives and dips.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you mentioning that, Tree, because life is like that. I mean, you are going to have days where it's a struggle. You're going to have hours, even minutes, where it's like, man, I feel like it's just darkness right now. And then, you got to remember, just hang in there, because then you're going to have those highs. You're going to have those moments where it's really good. The thing that we can't forget is during those dips, when those times are difficult, we can't just do it on our own. It's the best thing you can do is reach out to others and actually just kind of be in communication or talk with people. So thank you for saying that. Adrian, you had your hand up.
Hey, yeah. So similar to this, and as everyone's mentioning community, last night we had this somewhat impromptu Zoom event with other vendors in the wedding industry in New Jersey. And it turned out to be really incredible. It was just to talk about what's going on, who's dealing with what. And we got so much insight and relief out of that conversation. Somebody that, some really important people were in there, videographers, other photographers, wedding planners, officiants, people who were working at venues that have been laid off. And so they've brought a lot of the worlds of what's going on. And so somebody who, she runs New Jersey Bride Magazine. She was in there, and she has a Facebook group that is, we can't get in there. It's just the brides. And she's telling us how it's occurring for them right now and what are they talking about. So we got so much insight into how the brides are feeling and what's going on. So that was really eye-opening to get that side of it, because we're, you know, we have compassion and also we're dealing with our own stresses. So to hear they're having a lot of relief once they've postponed everything. So the people that are really the most stressed are the ones that are on the fence, not sure what they should do. And the brides that have postponed have come back and really are cheering about their vendors and their photographers, and they're actually out there recommending them. So there's a chance, excuse me, for us to go out there and to like be great people for our clients and to provide something for them, because now they're saying great stuff about us. And so I don't know if that segues into tips on your topics, Trevor, but you know, just getting that insight and also hearing from other vendors, like what are they dealing with? What are they doing? And now behind the scenes, we're really sourcing each other locally. Like, what can you do for me? What can I do for you? And how can we help?
Yeah. You know, and I appreciate you mentioning that, because I saw some people, some photographers saying, and I can't remember who it was, so I apologize, I can't give them credit right now, but they were saying like, hey, vendors, if you have food or flowers or anything that you want me to photograph right now for you, like send it over and I'll photograph it. In fact, I think, and now that I think about it, Joss and Tree, I think you guys had said it as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone with an online store or needing website content, like there's ways to do things, because we're not in full lockdown yet. So we could go somewhere, not necessarily to hang out with people, but
not to mention the time to go through our portfolios and pull out those pieces that we've already photographed for them and sending them. So now that we have the time to do that, that's really valuable to them.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great suggestion. Jesse Mora.
Well, first, I just wanted to say that it's great to see all your faces right now, and I don't think that this would be happening if we didn't find ourselves in this situation. So this is a kind of a highlight for me. And then also, Trevor, your video yesterday really touched me. I started actually to get like a little bit choked up when you started reciting the "Man in the Arena" quote. So I just wanted to say thank you for doing that. That kind of brought a little bit of light to my day.
Thanks. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. Yeah, actually, Jesse, you know, it's funny you say that, and I appreciate you saying that, because in that, you're right. We wouldn't probably be doing this if it wasn't for this whole circumstance. And yet it is something that is helpful no matter what the environment is. I mean, maybe this is something that we do continue doing throughout the year, and just kind of getting together with people. And it not, you know, everyone here is awesome MagMod ambassadors, people that I had easy ways of contacting, but I would love to bring other people in the community as well. In fact, I know some people had mentioned there's some suggestions from the community in the chat. Eddie Hennessy says one of the positives right now is so much time to learn and enhance your skills. That's something he brought up. And then Ryan Ida, who's an incredible photographer as well. So cool to see the community come together. Very encouraging and uplifting in challenging times. So yeah, I think those are definitely two positives that we, lots of positives. So guys, let's get into some action steps. So first off, I would love to hear what are some things that you have done this week. And by the way, I'm sorry, Ruben and Ivan, I just noticed your hands were up. Did you guys want to add to the positive stuff? I definitely don't want to skip over it.
Sorry, Ivan, let me, sorry. What I was thinking about this week, besides the fact that I'm in lockdown for a week already, so I'm stuck home, that's for everybody. We should not stop doing what we are doing, because we don't know when it's going to be over. Mm-hmm. Science is going fast, and hopefully it can be done in a month, in a week, in 2 months. And we should still put our seeds on and plan photographing, planning workshop, planning whatever business we are planning, because once it's over, everything will bounce back. I'm sure about it. We don't know when it will bounce back, but I'm sure that it will bounce back even stronger than before. So if we stop sitting now, we will regret it later, because we don't have the time now. We don't have the time later, what we have now, to see it and to plan ahead.
For sure. No, I appreciate you mentioning that. Ivan?
I just want to say, just kind of like going along with Christian, what he said about just planning future creative photo shoots, stuff like that. So this time, one positive thing that I've seen is, like, of course, spending time with family, and also being able to think about other creative photo shoots that I, sometimes don't have time to. And also, like everybody's saying, kind of seeing the group and seeing all of us kind of coming together, coming with ideas, coming with positive things to share. I think that's one of the things that is helping me personally right now, just kind of, not feeling lonely, not feeling that I have other things to do, seeing other people, sharing ideas, not just in the photography community, but just, people sharing cooking recipes, people sharing, things to keep yourself busy. So I think that's something very positive that I've seen this week.
Thank you, Ivan. Sean and Alyssa.
We were just ready to talk about the next point that you wanted to bring up.
Let's do it. Yeah, why don't you guys segue into that?
Definitely.
So one thing we've been doing, so I've been working from home for the last couple weeks, but I guess due to something not even related to this, but ever since this really started developing, Sean and I both agreed that we were going to plant and pivot. So we weren't going to let this throw us off our game. We were going to be proactive about reaching out to clients that could potentially be affected. We're constantly keeping updated on the news, but the big thing is that if we're reaching out to clients before they're reaching out to us to change dates, we're taking that immediately out of their hands and saying, listen, please think about this now. Let's just get it taken care of now and have the conversation now versus getting a frantic email from a client. So that's one thing we've been really, really doing and hitting hard. We've had pretty much every wedding this month and then in April move to different dates. And that's just, again, just being there for them as a couple other people have talked about, and showing that we're going to lead them through this in the best way that we can. And we're just going to get it taken care of, take one more thing off their minds.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that approach too, because sometimes it's hard to talk about the difficult things. And so when you can reach out to clients and say, hey, we know this is difficult. Let's just hit the conversation now. Let's just have it. And it's funny because I'm not a phone person. I don't like talking on the phone very much. I'd prefer people just text or email me. And so I know some photographers have had a lot of success just making phone calls, but I find even just sending an email out and just saying, hey, it's not easy. It's difficult. Let's have that conversation. I hear someone laughing. Well, I'm missing something. It looks like Jesse and Moira are now up in the mountains, which is cool. I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
What mountains are those guys?
One thing, I think asking your client which means of communication they prefer is really powerful. Then you can start to hit that avenue of communication that they're comfortable with, and they're much more responsive that way. So that's one of the questions we ask in our initial inquiry with them is what means of communication they prefer. So some people, like they like texting. Some people like the phone call. Some people and that seemed to have opened up an opportunity for us to connect with people that otherwise might have become crickets.
I love that, Josh. That's so important. You're absolutely right, because we're serving them, right? Chad, I'm going to come to you in just a second. I wanted to just mention a few other comments. Timothy Milton out in California, he says, I love this. Thank you for being supportive. So I just want to make sure you guys all saw that. And then I love this comment. João Paulo, I hope I said that right. I think it's Portuguese. He says, you guys are saints for me. It's like you're the Avengers, but from photography. So that's for all of you guys. You guys are the Avengers. So Chad, let's go to you. Do you have a tip or something something you're doing?
Yeah, so just a couple of things kind of going off of what Sean and Lisa just said. We reached out proactively to our clients right into the start of all this, and went ahead and got ahead of everything. And one thing that we did towards the beginning of this week is we went ahead and sent everybody our calendar for the rest of the year, showing availability and all of that, so they can see those dates, not have to text us or email us and ask us those questions, but they're seeing when we're available and can go ahead and plan ahead with that. And also been using this time to actually get on here and do some video content for them. So we've been trying to build client resources over the last 2 years, and with this little bit of time, being very personable with the video side of things, spent some time actually creating more and more client resources, tips and tricks, and even just little things like how to use their photo gallery or how to select photos for an album, building that stuff too while I'm sitting here making personal video messages to each one of them. trying to help them out through this process.
I've got like something like personal. So something I've done to separate. So we're all kind of working from home right now, and sometimes it can be hard to separate your work life and your personal life. So make like different sections in your house for different tasks. So make sure you have a space designated just for working. Make sure you have a space designated to de-stress and take yourself away from everything. Don't carry stresses. So like I have like the one success that I've had this week is I didn't realize how important like my end of the day routine was, like coming home and getting comfortable and like taking work clothes off and putting comfy clothes on and like taking makeup off, like the whole process of just kind of taking the day away and stepping into a more kind of positive at home space. And now we're all kind of at home. So use this time to make a workspace, make a at home de-stress space. So don't carry the stresses of the day to, when you go to bed.
I love that idea.
Personal thing.
That's such a great idea of being able to kind of like segment things, like saying, okay, I'm going to be at work now I'm going to be at home. Also, Chad, just to kind of add to what you said, one thing I also did was I sent all my open dates to other wedding coordinators and said, hey, just in case you have a photographer that can't transfer the date, that is difficult, let me know. I'd be happy to help match whatever package they have for that client and just and fill in that date. Now, granted, that's to a certain point. They know that I can't do $500 weddings. It just doesn't make sense for my family. But basically saying like, hey, I'm here to help if it can help, So
yeah, reaching out to all the vendors. We've sent some Facebook messages to some of our favorite vendors as well, and saying, hey, what can we do? Like you guys said earlier, what can we do to help you during this time? How are you guys doing? Yeah. Just on a personal level. Not even the business side of things.
Yeah, I've started to. So this is a good time to get images that you haven't maybe necessarily had time to send to your vendors also for future use.
So true. Satali, yeah,
like just what you guys just said. Reach out to your vendors, and also like for the future, take really good care of them. Like right now, the planners that I've been working with that are rescheduling weddings have been like a huge stress relief for me because they're dealing with the whole thing for me. Like I also reached out to the clients, but I know they are the ones negotiating with a new date and changing the venue. So like the weddings that I'm rescheduling that are through a planner that I work with often, like quite often, or some planners, have been the easiest ones to deal with because they are taking all the frustration and stress. So let's just take care of them very well in the future, please.
Such a good point. Thank you so much. Adrian, did you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah. So my mind is I'm in a tunnel, how to make money, and which I think a lot of people are. And given that I'm not sitting down with clients in my studio, my interest is how can I work remotely? And so the first thing I did is reach out to my biggest corporate account, which is Shape Magazine. And I lost a huge event for April that I was really counting on that money. And so I reached out to every single person that I know at the corporate, it's Meredith Corporation, it houses a bunch of magazines. I reached out to everyone I know, every contact I have, offering for them to send their products because they're still printing. I know they can't go in their studios. So I said, can you send me your products? I have a fully functioning studio, or I can work from home. You can mail it to me. I'll photograph it. I'll send it back, and we can keep your pages going. I've done editorial work for them as well. I don't know what we can do with that. I'd be comfortable with a one-on-one. I don't for like today, but I don't know how that might change. And I just wanted to offer my services, and I got response back already. And I was blown away by the people that they've shared that with. And they're like, thank you so much for offering yourself. I'm sending it to the vice president of this. I'm sending this to the head of social media. And so, within hours, they're spreading my name out within the company. So I'm hoping things start to trickle down from that, and that they reach out with their needs, because they're still printing. I have reached out to local, these might sound a little funny, local product companies also to offer services remotely. I just went searching online for product photography jobs, and I found people that, a watch company in Manhattan that needs their watches photographed. And I love watches. So I just started reaching out to different outlets and just sending them information and just making some sort of contact. I'm also working on, I do sell gift certificates. So I'm working on a program for discounted gift certificates and Mother's Day. So, one more thing. I republished galleries that were expired galleries from past weddings. And I just reached out to the families and people who registered to those galleries to view them, saying, hey, if you needed to brighten your day to look at the gallery again, go right ahead. Here's your password again. And if you wanted to make a purchase, that's available. If you want anything, it'll be sent right to you. You don't have to deal with me at all. And so those are the actions that I've taken because I am so focused on how to bring in money right now.
I love that, Adrian. I see a lot of hands raised, which is fantastic. So just to let you guys know, we'll go, keep your hand up, but we'll go Michael next, and then I'll kind of go down the line. Esteban, Jesse, Dave, Sean, and I guess that's it I see right now. But I did want to just add one thing really quickly to that, Adrian, is there's a story, and I heard this story because back when I worked in the financial services, 12 years ago or so, and it was a story of there was a hot dog vendor. And granted, this is probably just a made up story, but I love the principle of it. It's a hot dog vendor. He's an old man. He's blind. He's selling hot dogs in Manhattan. He's doing great. Just absolutely, business is just booming. And then his son, who happens to be a Harvard graduate, like is outstanding in economics and everything else, he comes and he visits his dad and he says, "Dad, what are you doing? Like, don't you know the economy sucks right now?" His dad's like, "Well, my business is going great." And he's like, "Well, Dad, just because you're not reading the news, you're not seeing that the economy is terrible. And I don't know how you're out here selling hot dogs." So the next day, the dad's like, "Maybe I shouldn't do as many hours. Maybe I should do less hours." So he goes less hours. And the next day he says, "You know what? You're right. Sales was down today. I'm going to go less hours tomorrow." He goes less hours and less hours. And eventually he decides he's just going to stay home. And then his son says, "Dad, how's business going?" He goes, "The economy sucks. It's terrible. I haven't made any sales today." And it's because he literally didn't go out and sell anything, right? He didn't go out and sell hot dogs or anything else. And it's because he listened to the advice from his son, which was the economy sucks, don't do anything. And so I love, Adrian, like you are a perfect example of like somebody who's just like, you know what? I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to take the situation. I'm going to see what I can turn it into. So thank you for being that inspiration.
Cool. Thank you.
That's awesome. Michael, did you have some words?
Yeah, and actually, I want to continue on that topic for a second here. Just because we have an epidemic where we're all staying at home and weddings for the next month are canceled doesn't mean that we should stop marketing, stop doing the things that we have to do, because right now you have a captive audience. People are at home, they're on social media, and like I said earlier, people are still planning their weddings. So if you want to bounce back from this quickly, you don't want to stop your marketing altogether, because when things do pick up and people are continuing to look for their vendors, you want to be top of mind. And if you're marketing right now, you're doing all the things you have to do through social media, advertising, planning your shoots in the future with vendors when we all get released from our homes here, you'll be ready to weather this storm. And another thing, develop processes right now in your business for dealing with postponements and cancellations. And the reason why that's so important is because right now we're looking at March and April for postponements and cancellations, but there is a possibility that this can continue longer, right? And you want to have a process for dealing with clients who are getting married in May, in June, who are reaching out to you and asking what your policy is for dealing with these sort of things. And the way that we did this was we went around and we called all the vendors in our area. And I wanted to make a policy or a process that was both fair to our clients and consistent with what everybody else was doing in our area. And by doing that, when a client calls and they're asking about what our policy is for moving a deposit to a new date, we can develop something that the clients can stomach and it's fair for them. And it's also not going to put us out of business at the same time. We had 22 weddings between now and the end of April that had to be rescheduled. And if this goes into May, there's obviously a lot more, because that's the prime booking season for us here in California, our prime wedding season. So by dealing with this now, those clients who are considering postponing or canceling in May will know what to expect when you are ready to have that conversation with them, if we do get to that point. So I think that's important to do now.
I love that. Thank you. Esteban.
No, I really just wanted to add to what everyone else is saying. Just being proactive is such an important thing. And if anybody's in the comments right now and they haven't reached out to any of their couples, or at least for the upcoming couple of months, I would definitely recommend just a simple email. And what I really wanted to talk about is just the attitude with the communication with your clients. And the way that you communicate with your clients is really going to affect the way that they react to your message. So if you're positive about it, even though we're going through such a crappy time right now and we're stressing out over finances or what's going to happen, we don't really know what's going to happen. So now you put yourself in their shoes, somebody that's been planning their wedding for a year or 2 years. So really communicating with them with some hope in your message, I think really goes a long way. And just the best thing that you can do. And I was actually, I can't really take full credit for this because I was talking to one of my friends, Tony Woodark, who is in California. He's locked down right now. And he was saying the same thing, that it really is about the way that you portray your message. He's a really positive guy and almost to a fault, he says, but it's so important because you'll get that back from your clients and you'll get that back in a way that they'll appreciate it. And again, it's super tough what we're going through right now, but just being positive is such an important thing right now. So
yeah, thank you. Let's go Jesse and Moira, and then we'll go Dave and then Elizabeth.
Thanks, Trevor. So I love all of these action steps, but at the same time, we've really been embracing boredom. I actually had an audiobook come available that I had held on Libby, which if you haven't already downloaded Libby, it is an audiobook ebook app where you can borrow from your local library. I love it. And the book,
how do you spell that? Is it Libby?
Yes. Overdrive is the other one. They're both, I think, very similar. But I use that all the time to borrow audiobooks. And this one that came available literally 2 days ago, what is called Bored and Brilliant. And our minds are most receptive to creativity and new ideas when we're bored. And in this day and age, that happens so rarely because we have so much technology to distract us. We are driven to just do. And so this is a time that we can actually take advantage of where we are just in the house. We can't go out, we don't have we can't go to movie theater. There's a lot of downtime that we don't normally get. And to just take that and accept it and say like, okay, I'm going to be bored for a little bit and then just see what comes out of it. And I think it's really important right now because we're all going to be really busy with these rescheduled weddings. And so right now is the time to, work through that creativity, become more inspired so that we can really hit the ground running and deliver some awesome stuff for our clients once they start rescheduling weddings.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same concept as, how you get your best ideas in the shower, or like when driving your car and some other period of inactivity. And it's like now we have this abundance of inactivity, which is sort of ripe for, getting the creative juices flowing. And I think we can all kind of capitalize on that if we set our minds to it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Dave, did you want to add? So I think I missed a few hands. We have Dave, Elizabeth, Marissa, and Marlise.
Yeah, and it's Mara. That's just so perfect because like there is so much of this industry. I realized like I had a Saturday off, and it was just a Saturday that I was not supposed to have off. Right, I was supposed to be out of state and doing a bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden I was home, and so I had to sit home. And my first instinct was like, I'm very much the like, get down. What can I do to survive there? Like, what do I need to switch on? And my initial first thought was the same thing as just pause, like just hang out, chill for a minute, and just enjoy the fact that I got to spend a Saturday with my kids and my wife. And like, we got to walk around the neighborhood a far ways away from people, but like we get to walk around the neighborhood, but, and it was just super enjoyable. And I think that's the biggest thing right now that I'm doing is I'm trying to keep that mindset personally, but for my clients as well. Like not every single one of my clients wants to be freaking out about this right now. Like I had my July bride text me this morning and it's a destination wedding. So there's travel involved and there's a lot of unknowns right now about July. And so she reached out and I was like, hey, 4 weeks out, let's talk. Like, I don't know what 4 weeks from now looks like. I don't know what, like, if I think back a week ago, like I was kind of making fun of my wife for how clean the house was becoming and other people were, I'm pretty sure she hit me with a Clorox wipe at least twice last week. And, and so like everything's changed in a week. Right. And so there's so much that's just so different. And now I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to just pass along that piece to my clients and say like, hey, here's what we're going to do and here's where we're going to do it. But you've planned all this stuff. If we're down in July and you want to talk timeline, let's plan out your timeline as if everything goes perfect. And if it doesn't, then we'll worry about it then. But kind of just keeping that piece on forward because I'm the expert in the situation, right? And so if I sound in every one of my emails and I'm frantically I got to email all my clients and I got to do all this, like that's going to come across and it's going to freak my clients out. Whereas if I just remember, like, they're humans too, they're going through a lot of this stuff. Like, hey, we're going to get this through. I hope you got some time to watch some Netflix, or I hope you got to do whatever. Taking that time to relax and then go and out of that respond, I think is just the best thing you can do right now. And I've got plenty of stuff to keep me busy. I'm automating a bunch of stuff in my business. I'm doing other fun stuff, but on my own time, I'm separating those times, like Beth said before, of like personal time and work time. And right now I'm not working a crazy work week. So it's big.
Thank you. I appreciate that. These are, you guys are awesome. I love all the counsel, the advice, the information. Elizabeth.
Yes, just to follow up with what everybody else is saying, because I think we all think similar. One of my favorite books is by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and just basically, keeping those action steps is super important. And one of my favorite quotes from that book is, "Professionals stick to the schedule and amateurs let life get in the way." And right now we just don't want to let our life get in the way, just keep pursuing our passion and loving our clients. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
So true. Hey, Elizabeth, if you position yourself just right, you had the little cat ears. I think you had mentioned that earlier. Can we all see it? If you just there,
yes,
right there. That's perfect. I love it. Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah. Again, kind of going off of Elizabeth and Esteban and all the positivity. I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes. It's from a Nigerian poet, Ben Ogri. And it's, "The most authentic thing about us is our capacity to create, to overcome, to endure, to transform, to love, and to be greater than our suffering." And I feel like that quote just epitomizes how we are in this, in the situation right now. We are coming together in a community, both photography and just everybody in general, and supporting each other, and the positivity that's coming out of it. And like Esteban touched on, conveying that also to our clients and to our family at home. I have always kind of struggled. I have a 14-month-old, and I've always kind of struggled balancing the work life, but also being with him. And while I'm with him, sometimes I'm always thinking about, I got to answer this email. I'm itching to get to my computer. And now I can just be there, and my mind is kind of clear. And I feel like I'm appreciating those moments a little bit more, which is really nice. And so this past week, I've kind of narrowed down like my 3 I's, as I call them. So I have introspection. So time I'm thinking about myself professionally, but also, my relationship with my husband, my child, my extended family, my close friends. Inspiration. So coming on things like this or different communities online and finding inspiration through other photographers, other vendors, and just seeing what else is going on in the community. And it's just very, very inspiring. And lastly, imagination. What do I want to do? What's a personal project that I've been wanting to do for a while? And I've had a couple things, including like photographing my kids, which I feel like I never do, which is kind of funny. I feel like maybe some of you guys are obsessed with it, but for some reason I don't know, I don't do it as much as I feel like I should.
My kids have a lot of iPhone photos, not very many professional camera shots.
Yeah, and which is great too, So I think, to see the positivity out of all this is really important, and to keep, because like you said earlier, highs and lows, it's just naturally going to happen. But just to try to maintain that positivity, and people are doing such a good job of spreading that online.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I love those 3 I's: introspection, inspiration, imagination.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. You know what we should have had? We should have had somebody taking notes through this whole thing so that we can then turn it into a really cool blog article that, with all these great ideas. I love it. So
yeah, it's recorded, Trevor.
I know. That just means I have to go back and listen to it, which is good. Good. That's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying, as we were going, we should have someone taking notes. Marlise. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yep. Okay.
So I'm kind of in a different place. I know, I think it was Adrian was saying how she's like all geared up and ready to go and chomping at the bit. And I'm a single parent. I've had to set up homeschool all of a sudden for my daughter, and do everything sort of on our own and sort of adjust to this new routine. And so the word that I've been thinking about a lot lately is grace. And I've just been trying to give myself grace to not only feel my feelings, but if I were to push right now and try and suddenly gung-ho and do everything I could to contact planners and contact clients, like I'm doing the things necessary, but the rest of the time I'm giving myself that space to adjust to a new routine, to prioritize my family, which is my daughter, and also give myself space to sort of process and feel my feelings. And I think by doing that, that is the best way that I'm setting myself up for when I'm ready to sort of do those things 150%, because I am someone who I've always said I can outwork anyone in a room, and it's something I'm really good at. But if I don't give myself and honor the space of where I'm in and give myself that chance to sort of reset, so to speak, I won't be as successful when I start going back to that hard hustle that I'm so good at.
I love that, Marissa. I think it's important to point out that not all of us are the same as well. Like there's going to be some people that, like you said, like Adrian, like boom, boom, hustle, 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 which is super inspirational. Like it's super inspirational. But then there's other people that are like you, Marlise, or maybe totally different than the two of you, but where it's like, hey, I just need to step back for a minute. I need to have some time, take this all in. Like there's nothing wrong with that by any means. And nor is there anything wrong with Adrian or Michael or anyone else's manner, the way they're kind of coping with this. I think that's the thing about life in general, is like we all cope differently, I guess. I wanted to just read, there's a couple comments here that I want to read. And by the way, if you guys are watching this in the MagMod community, feel free to ask questions. We're going to get into here in just a second, just advice. So I know this has all kind of been advice as well. But if there's any kind of tips or things that you guys are maybe going to plan on doing this next week as well. I saw a quote by Garrett Ward that says, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." That's by Teddy Roosevelt. I love Roosevelt quotes. Dave Shea says, "Am I the only one who cannot stop touching my face?" Sorry, that wasn't actually in the community.
That was supposed to be
anyways. And then
famous quote.
I think we're going to tweet that one. And I love this quote by Jarrod Fix. Sorry, not a quote, but what Jarrod's an amazing photographer out in California as well. He says, "Our routines are thrown off. It's time to evaluate our daily plan. Having a plan and keeping our minds occupied is very important. One of the things I did yesterday was wrote down a page 1 through 24 hours in a day, and then write down what you did with your time. You will see that organization of your days tends to ease your mind a bit." And I think there's some truth to that as well. I think there's that ideas where we do want to fill, but at the same time, like Marlisa, you're saying, I think it's good to have, and Maura as well, it's good to have those times where you can be bored and just kind of let your mind, take in what's happening. Go out and sit on the porch or whatever, right? So I appreciate that. So again, if you guys are watching online and you want to share some stuff, feel free to share. Any quotes or anything or questions, we can ask the panel here. We'll probably go for maybe another 15, 20 minutes. Let me go back to my gallery view. We got a few hands up. Let's see. Let's go. Christian, we'll go Christian first, and then we got Chad and Beth, and then I see Josh and Tree and Jesse. All right, Jarrod, if you can actually use a little Zoom feature to raise a hand, it just helps me a little bit. But let's go Christian first. Go ahead, Christian.
Okay, I was listening about all this, everything is gonna slow down. Everything is gonna be like not in the same rush and the speed of all day. So I think is that a good opportunity for us for just sit down, order ideas, make a list of priorities in our lives and our work. Everything. A lot of people are talking about contacting vendors and clients, and like in a rush to maintain our businesses working. But at the same time, I think it's a good idea to slow down. My wife says that this is like kind of a world reset. Like everything is like restarting again. So I think she's right in a lot of ways with that phrase. And I think it's a good idea to slow down, stop, make a list of priorities and things of what we have to do, and start to do it, but without rush. We're doing it right and in a good way. For example, I don't know if you see this board. I'm just writing ideas and things that I have in mind, and just trying to put it in order to start to do it, but not to do it all at the same time. And one day, just try to be relaxed and enjoying what this is like opportunity for everything. So just try to be relaxed and chill out sometimes. We don't do that so often, so it's a good opportunity to slow down.
That's true, Christian. Last night, my family, we sat down for about an hour and we made a list. We just went around the table over and over again of all the things that we'd love to do. And we just wrote them all down, from ceramics to whatever. We just kind of wrote everything down. So I love that. Chad and Beth, let's jump over to you guys.
Yeah, so I like the advice. That was actually what I wrote down, was to try to slow down. But with that being said, I just want to let people know out there that it's okay to kind of feel anxious during this time, because we're all going through the same thing. I myself, I have anxiety issues, and when all this started, my anxiety just kind of was doing the whole wave effect. I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I have all these things to do now. I've got to try to save my business. I've got to think about all these different things. So it's okay to feel like that, but just try to slow down, take deep breaths. And what I've tried to do is, my advice to photographers, try to follow what I've done. It's trying to slow down and pick one thing in my business that maybe I've been ignoring or haven't had time for because we've been so busy. And now all of a sudden we've got all these Saturdays off. So one thing that we're doing is I'm trying to get better at Instagram marketing. Like Michael said earlier, people are still, they're on their phones all day now. They're on social media. They've got more time. They're still planning their weddings. So now they're using this time to actually look into their weddings for next year, 2021. So I've been trying to get better at Instagram marketing. I've been scouring hashtags, like the engaged hashtag, local bridal shops, their hashtags and stuff. And I'm just reaching out personally through Instagram and contacting potential leads. Because I've noticed right around the start of this week, I started getting even more leads than I normally get. And most of them were coming from Instagram. So that's when I started seeing this trend. So jump on Instagram or focus on a different portion of your business and just slow down, take deep breaths, and try and focus in on that.
I know we're going to I know, Trevor, you mentioned that we were going to kind of wrap this up like soonish. So kind of the last thing, I like to be a pretty positive, inspirational person. So on top of like getting to photograph weddings with Chad, I'm also a high school teacher. So Marissa, I totally feel you on like the homeschooling thing. Teachers are just as lost trying to figure out how to teach digitally as well. So kudos to you, my woman. But something that I actually got to like, now we're in North Carolina, we're not really starting this whole digital thing till next week, I think. So I actually tested out Zoom with a few of my kids the other day. And the one thing that I talked to them about and kind of getting to internalize all of Chad's anxiousness also is simplifying the root problem. And so I had a number that I showed them, right? That's a pretty scary number. Like it's not a number that we see and we say, oh man, that's not like a number that we look at and say, it makes us like anxious and get kind of, our hearts start to get going. That number is 2/3. It's just 2/3 with a lot more problems attached to it. So something that I told them the other day is, I know it seems like this is kind of exploding and we have someone quarantined here and someone quarantined here. And I feel like, especially in the news and everything, we all start reaching out. It's the same problem. So don't look at something and let a certain thing here and then the news say it's the same thing, but it's happening here. The same thing's happening here. The same thing's happening here. And I think sometimes we see all of those different numbers screaming at us. And we have to keep in mind to just stop, pause, patience, positivity, and realize that it's all the same problem. It's all the same thing. And then to make sure that you're reaching out and communicating. Because I didn't realize how much I'd missed my kids until I talked to them yesterday.
And reach out, like we talked about the photography community, reach out to your local photography community, reach out to us. you're struggling with things, we're here to help. Okay.
I appreciate that. I think it's important to know, like, you're not in it alone, and you can reach out to people for sure. Let's go. So I see Jesse and Moira's hand up. Let's go to you guys next.
Yeah, I like the Roosevelt quote earlier, and we have another presidential quote that we've always kind of lived by. So I'm going to let Moira read it because she's a lot more eloquent than I am.
Well, thank you. This quote is from Calvin Coolidge, and it's one of my favorite quotes. But I also stole it as a favorite quote from Jesse. He found it first, so I got to give kudos. And the quote says, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan 'Press On' has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race."
I love that.
Sorry.
Oh,
I think that's something that, is important not only now, but it's a quote that we keep in mind all the time,
Yeah, but it's especially apropos for, I think, what we're going through at the moment. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's, Jarrod, I know you want to say something. Let's jump over to Jarrod, and then we'll go back over. I know, Esteban, you have your hand up as well. So Jarrod, would you like to share some thoughts?
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. This has just been awesome. I've just been kind of sitting back here, taking notes, listening to all of you, and wow, so much amazing, just insightful information from all y'all. So I appreciate that. Obviously, we want to take care of our clients, take care of our family, but also always remember to take care of yourself and maintain that emotional and mental strength that you might need at this time. There's been a few things that I had to sit down and do just to kind of make sure that I'm staying healthy. And one of those things, and I know it's been mentioned just briefly, but I wanted just to mention it one more time, was just to set a schedule for yourself. I think in these times where we don't have things built into our day, like going out and doing things, your days can kind of seem repetitive and can seem daunting in a lot of ways. And so, I sat down and just outlined my day, kind of like what Jarrod Fix was mentioning, and that has given me kind of tremendous, purpose in my days. I think it's important to build into that, just to remember to keep moving and to exercise, to get out and go do a walk, go do something, whatever that might be. My kids and I have found a fun exercise YouTube channel, and so we're taking that time to just exercise together so that we can keep our heart rate up and keep moving. I think it's also important to mention that we should be consuming our media, particularly social media, cautiously, and just making sure that we're considering how much and what we are consuming. Another thing that I'm trying to do is to do something for myself, build into my schedule something for myself every single day, whether that's reading or working on a new hobby. For myself, music used to be a huge part of my life. That's kind of been set to the side. And so I picked up my instruments again and started playing. And it's been years since I've done that. And that's just kind of helped me feel good on a daily basis. So I was just going to mention a few of those things. But I think it's good to stay positive. One of the things, I know a couple other people asked me to mention it. So one of the things I'm trying to do on social media is I'm trying to minimize the negativity that is being shared and shown on social media, at least in my sphere, as much as I can. So I've made an effort to only share positive articles. And I know that might seem a little bit naive, but I think there's some benefit from that as well. And I've started using the hashtag Look for the Good, and I've seen a lot of other photographers that have followed that same hashtag and are also sharing that hashtag. And so every single good article that I could see, whether it's about this virus, whether it's about how people are dealing with it, whatever it might be, I've been trying to share that as much as possible. And it seems to be getting some good feedback. It seems to be helping some people. So just a few things I thought I'd share.
That's awesome. I appreciate you mentioning that, Jarrod. I got to say, Jarrod is also, and granted, I know I wish we could just duplicate him and have lots of Jarrods out there, because you can't do this for everybody. But like this morning, actually the last 2 mornings, I get this quote from Jarrod, or not quote, a text message says, "Good morning. How are you doing? How was sleep? Day before, I don't know. He sent me a couple of messages. I won't get into too much of it, but just the point that I guess I'm trying to make is Jarrod's out there actually texting people, being proactively, like reaching out to people and saying like, how are things going for you? Like, I know it's not easy for everybody, and how are you doing? So Jarrod, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the industry, as we can all probably feel, you know, the industry is hurting, and the industry needs that connection and that communication. So I'm just trying to do my part as much as I can. So many people in this industry have given me a deep sense of place in my life and my journey in this life. And so just making sure I can maintain that as best as possible is incredibly important for me.
And I think it's important for people to understand too, Jarrod, is that it's not like you have to have some big name or brand or something in the industry to be able to reach out and make a difference in people's lives. You can just reach out to somebody locally that you look up to, that you follow their work. They might not even know who you are. And you just reach out to them and shoot them a message and said, "Hey, I've followed your work for a couple of years. I love your photos. You always inspire me. I just wanted to touch base and just make sure you're doing okay. And if there's anything you need, I'm here to help out," or whatever. It doesn't matter who you might think you are. You can be special to anyone just by touching base. So yeah.
And also one other thing I was going to mention, when we're talking about reaching out to people and expressing our just reminding people that we're thinking about them. Remember those people that are completely alone. You know, I trying to, my mom is single and on her own, and I'm thinking, gosh, how difficult can this time be for those that don't have a partner to isolate themselves with in their home, and how important it is at this time to make sure we're reaching out to those people and letting them know that we're thinking about them and being on the phone with them if that's what they need, or doing whatever it is that they need at this time.
Yeah, thank you. So I know Josh and Tree, you guys wanted to say something, and we have Esteban and then Marlise. So go ahead, Josh and Tree. Thank you, Jarrod.
So we just recently had a workshop, and one of the most powerful quotes I've ever known, I'm kind of a quote gatherer, was, well, I used to hang out with the Navy SEALs. I used to hang out with this is not about war, but I hung out with this one guy he was the trainer of the Navy SEALs. And one time I heard this quote that really resonated, that puts me at a sense of peace. And here it is. It's more of an allegory. Fate whispers into the warrior's ear and says, "You'll never survive the storm." But the warrior responded by saying, "No, I am the storm." Yeah. And to me, that, might initially sound really intense, but I think we can be peaceful warriors in this time of uncertainty. I think there's an opportunity to prune back. What I feel is a sense of extraordinary clarity, and it really is making me focus on what's the priority of priorities. And so, for example, with our clients, if you want to get into a task thing, reaching out to them and really kind of maybe addressing albums and what's most valuable to them is with their memories and the opportunity of time that we have, not only as photographers right now, but to also not to only build those albums, but to communicate the value of that print towards our couples that we already have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And to really embrace that to its fullest and to fully articulate that to them is really powerful. And it helps us as photographers to, I think, continue to provide value and also a potential stream of income. But I think that doing that is a really smart step for us. I think, Tree is kind of more the album person in our business. But, if you think about, like, why are we doing this? What we do is we're providing memories for people. We're providing a valuable reflection. And the ultimate result of that is providing them, digital is one thing, but I think print is more romantic. Digital is more associated with business. But print, that's romantic, and that's associated with some of the most powerful times in people's lives, like, for example, getting married or family shoots or whatever it is. So it's fully kind of focusing on what the priority of our priorities is is something really apparent this time.
Well, and it's both, because we're creating value and experience for our clients right now while they're at home. We can work on building their album. It's also a stream of income for us. So
yeah, I love that. Thank you. What a great story you shared there in the beginning too. I love that. Esteban, let's jump over to you.
Sure. So I know that we're all photographers. We're all talking about the things that we're going through, but as human beings, I think we should also really think about the people that are struggling, and just really putting out resources that we can share with people that might be struggling. Actually, before I did one of the lives I did yesterday, I looked up some statistics, and it showed that almost 70% of Americans don't have over $1,000 in their savings account. It's really sad to think that while we may have the resources to really get through the next month or 2 months or 6 months, there's actual people out there that are trying to figure out what they're going to do because they might lose their home or they can't go to work. People that are out there in the workforce that can't go to work because they're feeling that they can't feed their kids, or whether it be a systemic issue or whether it be something where they're just literally cannot go to work right now. So just really putting out resources to help out. And if you're in a position to help someone out that you know isn't going to be able to make ends meet, just really, and it doesn't have to be a monetary donation, but it could just be something where you can, I mean, a lot of these people, just reading the comments here, like us being called Avengers, like that's kind of surreal to me, but in reality, just reaching out to someone like Jarrod, what you're doing, just a text or an email, or just calling somebody, picking up the phone and calling somebody, I think you'd be surprised just how long that'll go, or how positive of an impact that'll be on somebody's life. Somebody might wake up today and they don't know what their life is going to look like a week from now, and just really picking up the phone and just doing something. If you are in a financial position to help somebody out, then obviously I think that'll go a long way. But, and even just resources, I know that Facebook yesterday announced something where they're going to do grants for small businesses. I know that there are some mortgage lending companies that are going to come together and help people out with their mortgages. So again, not necessarily photography related, but just more on the human side of things, which I think is a much bigger picture than what we're talking about right now. So.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important to point out things that maybe aren't photo related. Like you're saying, a lot of times these companies, if you just call them up and just tell them your situation, oftentimes they are, flexing things around, moving things and making it work. So absolutely. Let's do this, guys. Let's, I honestly, I could probably do this all day long and just continue learning. We've gone for about a little over an hour, and I certainly don't want to take up all you guys' days. I know we have, I see 4 hands raised that we're going to go and chat with. One thing I just want everyone to think about as we go through these, maybe think of like one little action step that you're going to take this week that you can share with everybody, in the community. And we'll just kind of go through and maybe speak for another 10 or 15 minutes, sharing some of those action steps, as well as some of the hands that are already raised. I don't want you guys to change your thoughts, and then we'll kind of find a conclusion somewhere. But let's go to Marlise. Let's jump over to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one word that keeps coming into my mind, and even in this conversation, I keep hearing it in my head over and over, and that word is connection. And it's funny because what we've done is our world has literally taken away all of our human connection physically, but everyone seems to want to keep finding ways to connect in other ways because it seems like connection is so essential. And so I'm trying to use that word to drive and motivate sort of our actions right now, whether it's connecting with family, friends digitally, obviously, but also connecting with our clients and then thinking about how our clients want that connection. And that is something that sort of going off of what Joss and Tree said with having the albums and things like that. I have tossed around the ideas of either giving clients a digital gift card to use in their galleries to order prints, or just discounting my galleries overall and letting them have half off all prints in their galleries, right? Like little things like that, I think, will not only show that you care, but it will also, it's a potential revenue source, and it allows your clients it reminds them of what's important. the other thing I just wanted to touch on really quick, as far as some people were asking about balancing as a parent with schooling and being a business owner, there's a resource called OutSchool. And I'm really lucky that my daughter has a charter. She's a homeschooled charter school student who goes to a private school, which makes no sense. But ultimately, we have government funds that we haven't used. And so I was lucky that I signed her up for probably way more classes than she'll even need. But she's going to be having a private Italian tutor next week, twice a week. And she's going to be taking sign language, and she's taking a singing class, and a whole bunch of things. And her homeschool charter school teacher, again, it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry, they said to also give your children grace right now. So I'm trying to give her opportunities for connection through this virtual schooling, on top of her private school virtual schooling, but I'm also giving her grace to do the things that she really needs to do right now, which is play video games, FaceTime with her friends, just like we are. The world's really scary for them right now, and I think it's just important that we let them have that space to not only just be catching up on their math homework, but also processing and dealing with the world right now as they can, and giving them that. So yeah.
It's also important to learn the renegade dance.
Oh yes, the TikTok dances. Yes. And giving them that, and trying not so hard to discipline them and be like, I mean, we've had days where we have no screen time, and we're not a TV family. But there's days where I'm like, yeah, you know what, if you need to spend a couple hours playing some game that I usually wouldn't let you play, then that's okay. And while you do that, I can be brainstorming and connecting with my community and doing what I need to do. So
yeah, love it.
We're all figuring it out.
Yeah, no, thank you, Marissa. Appreciate that. Ivan, let's jump over to you.
Yeah, I think one of the things I wanted to share with the community is one of the things that I'm trying to do that I think is very helpful. Some of us could feel like very overwhelmed and kind of lost with all this, kind of like, what are we going to do next? So one of the things that I've been trying to do this last couple of days is actually having like a plan of what I'm going to do for my family, like call them, like reach out to them. Also have a plan for like my business. What is the next steps that I can do? I know we can do so much right now, but I think having a plan can help us, not being overwhelmed and not just feeling that we're just lost. So having a plan for my business, thinking like some of you were saying, kind of like finding ways to reach out to people, finding ways to kind of like go to Instagram, maybe work on our portfolios and things like that. And of course, one of the things that I'm also trying to do as kind of like going along with my business is, how can I become a better photographer right now, right? We can't really go outside and do photo shoots and reach out to people, but I can look at my website. I can look at maybe working on my Photoshop skills and there's so many tutorials that are for free. I've seen many people that have, just shown some little snapshots or things that they done in Photoshop and things like that. So there's a lot of resources for that. So I think that really having a plan, just today, like what am I gonna do today? So I have kind of like a small list in my head, and also a list for the rest of the week. And so I think that's something that it's helping me not being overwhelmed and not feeling, because I'm really like if I don't have a plan, if I don't have like an action, I feel lost, especially right now, because I can't just go outside and do the normal stuff. So for me, that's something that it's really helping me with this situation right now.
Ivan, along with what you're saying too, is one thing that we're going to start next week on Monday is have kind of a creativity challenge where you got to create some kind of fun photo in your house. And I hope that, granted, I understand that not everybody, might not be up to it. It might be one of those things where it's like, I don't want to pick up my camera right now. But I hope that you can, at least everybody considers it and thinks about like, okay, let's have some fun. I know I told my kids, I said, hey, next week, one of the things we're going to be doing is the contest, or I don't know if I'd call it a contest, the what's the word I'm looking for, guys? The challenge that I'm going to be extending to everybody is going to be about color, using color. So I was telling my kids like, hey, we got to start thinking about how we want to create a fun, colorful photo. using, gels and so forth, and kind of getting them involved as well, So yeah. So let's jump over. We got, I think these are in order as you guys raise your hands. So I have Jarrod and Marissa. Let's go Jarrod next. Thank you, Ivan.
Awesome. So one thing I just kind of, as we're coming to an end of this, I wanted to mention is this is a unique opportunity, similar to what Christian mentioned and that his wife had mentioned. This is a unique opportunity for all of us as individuals, as businesses, and just as humanity as a whole, to pause and think about how we want to redefine ourselves from this point on. This is a unique point where we can make a huge difference to a lot of people. We can stand up and kind of shine, in a sense, if as needed, for those that need someone. And so I would encourage and kind of challenge everyone to take some time to pause and to sit with all that's going on, and to really think hard about how they would like to move forward from this point on, both again from a personal standpoint, how they'd like to define their business and how they're going to make those steps, etc. I think this is something that's unique, that if we don't take that time right now, we will regret it.
Thank you. Marissa.
Yeah, I'll just do kind of a couple of concluding notes as well. I think kind of what Marlise was touching on as well, I think it is important to strike the balance and handle everything with grace, and in some ways kind of alleviate the stress that, we don't have to write the next best novel because we have all this time, and you don't have to, do just a million things for your business. It's okay just to take some time and take it one step at a time, because sometimes I get overwhelmed by thinking about, wow, well, I got to work on my taxes, I have to redo my SEO and my website, and that in itself, even if you're not shooting as a business owner, it can be extremely overwhelming. So I think we just need to just handle it with little grace, take it easy, and don't just get too overwhelmed with that. And then for one of the things that we're doing now is, my husband's one of 5 kids, I'm one of 4 kids. We have, I think, 13 nieces and nephews between us. So we actually have spent a lot of time doing FaceTime with all of our family, which has been really nice. I'm sure maybe you guys have been doing that too. And just that connection that we normally wouldn't do every day has been really nice. It's been really fun. Yeah. And just the cousins seeing each other. And then lastly, with on a business end, I think I'm probably going to start rolling out emails next week, asking for reviews, which I always forget to do. It's always the last thing on my mind is to ask for reviews. So that's something that we can do. It's an easy email. You can template it and just send it out. And then, as Marlise touched on, I think doing some sort of credit towards an album or credit towards print sales, I think is a really, really smart idea. And I actually had my website critiqued yesterday by Sam Himes, so that was fun. And so I'll probably work a little bit on calling out some photos that aren't as strong as others, and maybe we can even generate another roundtable of people, their portfolios, and just seeing what's your strongest image, what isn't, what should you take out, what best represents the image you want to portray. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Those are all great tips. Jesse and Moira?
Yeah, I was just going to say that we have gotten really serious about our exercise regimens. I feel like if I'm ever feeling kind of lethargic or bummed out or anxious, I feel like going out and doing some aerobic exercise is the best thing to get me feeling motivated and excited to continue working, especially in times like these. We're lucky to live right by a jogging path where we can go out and run a few miles without seeing another human being. But if you don't have that, you can always just do jumping jacks and push-ups and some sort of interval training inside your house. We also have a rowing machine that fits in a closet. We set it up in our living room, and just getting really serious about exercising every day, a couple times every day, has just done a lot for our mental health. So yeah,
We are going to end this quarantine absolutely ripped.
Yeah.
See, see, I'm embarrassed. On the other hand, I've been eating like all our food. Since I have 6 kids, so if I don't eat the marshmallow cookies now, somebody else is going to eat them. So I've been, like stocking up, making sure I got plenty taken care of. No, I will say something along the exercise line though is I think a lot of times we don't realize that our minds get tired as well, right? I've always thought about Mark Zuckerberg. He used to say, and likewise Steve Jobs, both of them would say that they wore the same thing every day because they don't want to have to use any mental energy to choose their clothes in the morning. They want to just get up, grab the exact same thing, right? The hoodie or the black turtleneck or whatever, and put it on and wear the same thing. Now, granted, they might have like 20 of that same hoodie or 20 of the same shirt. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that I think if we get up in our day and we start going throughout the day, the best time to tackle the most difficult things, whether it be editing the most recent wedding or whatever, is like early in the morning. Like, don't look at any news or anything. Tackle that work, get it done, and then go throughout your day. But don't think that for a minute you're going to try to edit that wedding at 3:00 in the afternoon after you've just exhausted all your mental energy with everything going on, right? So that would be my actionable tip, I guess, would be set your alarm, say at 6 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do whatever it is I need to do that's most important and hit those priorities first. And then the other thing I'm going to add to that is journaling. I think it's so important right now to journal some of your thoughts and journal some of those things that are in your mind and encourage your kids to do it. I mean, our kids, grandkids, furry kids, whatever, down the line, it's going to be like, hey, what was it like to live during that crazy pandemic that you guys were going through? So write down some of those thoughts. And I think it's therapeutic in that way. Adrian, let's jump over to you.
Hi. Okay. So a few more things came to mind as you asked about what are our plans coming up in the next week. And given that in this current climate, we're parked at home and people are finding new ways of doing business, all eyes are pointed on your online media and content. So, I mean, for ourselves, luckily, my wife and I, we joined businesses. So we have a new company and she's currently working on a new website. So she's been awesome at taking care of that for us. But other people are also working on their websites that need us. So when we think about people who might be for everyone, the community, like who's in your network that needs an online presence in some way that we can offer something for their content. So yoga instructors are doing online classes. Trainers are doing online classes. And so just to kind of coordinate with them to figure out like, what can we provide for their content to help them put something together that there's a camaraderie there, there's an alliance. So I'm going to be reaching out to those people too, just to connect, just to brainstorm, get some ideas.
Love it. Thank you so much. Chad and Beth. Oh, did I lose Chad and Beth? Oh, there they are.
We're good. Sorry. I couldn't find the space bar apparently. Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned reaching out to clients, reaching out to other wedding vendors or other photography vendors, whatever. Just wanted to mention, reach out to your local small businesses and see if there's anything you can do for them, the ones that still are open. Just kind of a unique situation. We have a partnership with the local camera store and print lab here in town. It's called ASAP Photo and Camera. I've been trying to help them out with some things, doing some video marketing stuff, because they're going through a tough time, just like just about all your small businesses. So anything we can do to raise a few bucks for them and to bring in some sales for those, for those that are able to, or whatnot, if you're looking for a piece of camera gear or whatever, reach out to your small businesses and see if you can do something for them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. MagMod included. No, actually, what's interesting? I went on the other day in the MagMod community and people were like, wait, MagMod's still shipping? We are still shipping. So in fact, every order that's going out, I've been jumping on and sending everyone a little personal video, just thanking them, because truly from the MagMod team, it means so much to us, just like any other small business that orders are happening. So Citlali, let's jump over to you.
Yeah,
Citlali.
just like from hearing all this advice, I just want to say that you guys go and grab whatever is working for you right now and apply it for yourself. Like we're all going to be in different situations. So if you want to just jump in and start working on your website, go ahead and do it. If you just want to start working out, whatever feels right now, it's what is right for you. So don't feel overwhelmed. Just grab these ideas, write them down, and just take action whenever you have the energy to do it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Is there any other closing thoughts anyone wants to add? You guys can just unmute yourselves and talk if you like, or raise your hand, either way.
So there's this wonderful book called The Miracle Morning I've been reading and practicing. It's because it's not just a read, it's a real practice. Mm-hmm. And it's extraordinary. Let me just quote or read something real quick here. You'll find that how you spend the first hour of your day becomes the key to unlocking your full potential and creating the levels of success you desire. You'll quickly see that when you change the way you wake up in the morning, you change your entire life. Yeah. And there's 6 little practices that are in this book. It's called Savers. And I'll just real quick, it's silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and writing. And some people spend an hour doing this. Some people spend 6 minutes doing this. And it resets that, starts that day in a powerful, powerful way. This has been really helpful to us.
And
I love that.
Say that I plan on gardening this weekend. We have sunshine and the rain is coming, and I'm going to garden and plant some food and get my hands.
I love that. That's awesome. Elizabeth, did you have something?
Yeah.
Nope. Okay. I just saw you're unmuted. Awesome. Guys, I just, again, it feels almost unfortunate that I'm going to close this down just because, again, I don't want to take up everyone's days, but I just want to thank all of you so much. I think one of the big themes that I picked out of this, and it's actually something that I love teaching my kids, they've heard me say this numerous times, it's when you feel bad about your own situation, go find ways to serve others, and it's always going to make you feel better. And I think all of you, and I know all of you, even coming on here and spending an hour and a half with us out of your day, when I know every minute is important, is showing that you're willing to serve others. And I hope that it made you all feel better as well. And likewise, those that are listening or, picking up tips, like go share that stuff with people. Go share it and serve others. And you'll find that you're going to have a lot more joy in your life when you're actually sharing and helping others, as opposed to, kind of keeping everything to yourself. And luckily we live in a day and age where we have this technology where we can touch base with people. We can communicate. We can actually be together, even though we're not physically together. So I just want to give you guys all a little round of applause. You guys, seriously, I appreciate you guys all. I love you. You guys are amazing. Actually, let me jump back over to the speaker view so everybody can see your faces. And then lastly, if you guys, anyone who's watching this, again, all their Instagram handles are there. So if you guys have any information you want to, touch base with these people, maybe if you saw a book that someone mentioned, you want to ask them more about that book or a quote or whatever, or Dave could probably tell you some really good things that are at Taco Bell on special right now. Also, I know Christian, you have your son there. Is that Santi? Is that right? You said Santi wants to say hi.
Hi.
Hey, Santi.
Hi.
Awesome. So appreciate you guys all. Again, we're going to be doing these more often. This is our first one, so we might have had a few issues here and there, but we appreciate everybody tuning in with us, and hopefully we can pick up good tips and we can put them to action. Any last words from anybody on the panel here?
Just one thing I wanted to throw out there is like when you say to like message us or talk to it, like we do mean that. Like everyone here, we're only here because we care about the community, and we like our Instagram's here. Like please send us a message, let us know how we can help. There is a lot going on for a lot of us, and we're all in different places. Some of us are in, I'm gonna zero out and just kind of mellow out for a little bit. Some of us are in hustle mode, and there's gonna be a ton of you in the community that are in different places as well. So if like a comment or something like that from like anyone in here really resonated with you, touch base with them, let them know, like let us know how else we can help you guys, because we really are all in this together. This industry as a whole is always better together than it ever is apart. So please do reach out.
Thank you, Trevor, for putting this on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you guys.
Yes.
You guys are the ones.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Hey, I want to just throw one last thing out there. I guess a little tip is, I guess, and this is MagMod related. If anyone got the email, most everyone should have, about a survey that we put out there. We are interested in your valuable input regarding the industry and how we can create better products. You get a $10 coupon, and you can throw that $10 coupon on top of the sales that we're offering on the website. So, like, I know the MagBeam kit is Black Friday pricing right now. Throw the $10 coupon on it, even better. So make sure, I don't want you guys to lose that opportunity. If there is something you need, definitely take advantage of that coupon. I guess looks like JD just told me magmod.co. We made it really easy for everyone to find it, magmod.co. So, all right, guys. Hey, with that, let's close this out. This will be one of many. We'll do it more times, and we'll touch base again next week. Everybody pay attention to the MagMod community. On Monday, we're going to release that challenge, and then each and every day we're going to have some kind of live chat, something that we can do to help everyone out. All right. So thank you again, you guys. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, everyone. See you guys.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. I stopped the live stream, I think.